we're in the midst of the off season, but it's more of a lull right now. Not a lot of news coming in. So what is there to do but write articles and project? So we're gonna look at the NFC East roster, starting from the most talent poor to the most talent rich. We obviously know that's the Eagles and then the Cowboys, Giants, but today we're dealing with the Washington Redskins. I mean the Commanders, because they're gonna get skinned. And we look at their roster from top to bottom and see how it will fare in the NFC East. Not projecting any more than that because their schedule, we've already done that in the past video. But anyways, you're not even watching. So, what's up? It's your boy Cintron. Come back at you with another analysis / news video. And I kid you not, that's my real name. Very little news, but let's drop to the bottom of this article, rightfully so, where the Washington Commanders lie. All right, so let's see. Here's their roster. So we'll start out with the projected starters. Sam Howell. We won't go any further than that because if they're not here, they most likely don't matter. With the Eagles, I'll be able to tell you more and in other squads as well. But I'm not well versed on this Washington defense, but we will dive into it nonetheless. So, anyways, Sam Howell, he's a projected starter. Jacoby Brissett is the backup. He could end up seeing time. We'll say he most likely will end up seeing time because I don't see Sam Howell starting from start to finish. Not because he's talent poor. He did well in the Week 18 matchup where he beat the Cowboys with their starting offense and defense playing. But as you said, he's a second-year player, first-year starter, and a greenhorn, and he's going to get eaten alive by the coordinators of the league who are just salivating at the chance to play against the coach against the young quarterback, and he's being thrown to the wolves. Yes, he had a great showing in the start, like as I just mentioned. But that being said, he's not ready. He's not ready. He's shown no signs of he's shown inclinations of being able to be the guy. But he might surprise you. But once they get enough film on you, they're gonna know you inside and out. Go back to your days, the college days, and see what you do well. And the tape is gonna be out there. It's gonna have tells. It's gonna show the limits of your abilities. Show what tendencies you like to put out there on film. And once they have that, man, no amount of self-scouting will be able to prevent you from showing your warts to the league and them exposing those warts, and you're gonna look ugly. And everybody has to take their lumps. And I'm not saying just because he doesn't have the pedigree, but it'll be a surprise if he comes out and he's a competent, above average starter. Just because he was drafted at the slot for a reason, and even Purdy, he got exposed down the road. The more that we saw, what he could do, what he chose not to do. Oh, okay, well that's his limit, and Philadelphia put him in his place when he came down to the link. It happens to everybody. No rookie starter had gone on to from a championship game to Super Bowl. I think maybe there's one guy, but I'm forgetting the statistic, but it was there for a reason. Even him, he played admirably, but even the first pass play from scrimmage, and he got knocked out of the game. So I mean, yeah, this guy Howell may have a bright future, but it ain't gonna be this year. So we'll see, and we'll see what he shows. He's gonna even get pulled, and it might damage his confidence moving forward. Hey, but I love it. Brian Robinson, he came and showed himself as a running back one once he was given the job over the third round pick. I forget his name. It was great pass catching back. He will play a role, and they'll rotate highly, but he is the guy moving forward. Back out of Alabama after he recovered from his gunshot wounds, really gave them a spark, and he's a tough nosed runner and pretty talented guy. So they have a good RB1. And I mean, we'll see what he does. But Terry McLaurin, he's a speed demon, and he's had 3 back 1,000-yard seasons. He's a threat out there. He definitely cooked some of our corners, some last season, namely Darius Slay. But we'll see how he plays against this new scheme, which may not look all that different, but has a D coordinator that actually has previous experience before coaching for the Eagles. And may be different. We'll have to see. But I like the matchup between him and definitely Curtis Samuel and Jahan Dotson. Dotson has really proven himself. He's struggled with injuries, but he could be a number 2, but he has to show himself. But this doesn't scare me. Curtis Samuel and a gadget weapon slot guy has some talent. He runs a 4.3, but also not a guy to fear. You can put him in check. So they're not really scary outside of Terry McLaurin. And if you lock him down, the offense will, maybe one trick pony with, just them lean on the run. And is Sam Howell going to be scatterbrained out there? Logan Thomas, more of the same. I mean, he's competent, but nothing special. And this O-line as well. Charles Leno, Sadiq Charles, Nick Gates, Sam Cosmi, Andrew Wiley, named chiefly him. He, no pun intended, he played for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That field prevented him from, getting exposed, but he gave up 8 sacks last year, and, he's supposed to be the answer at right tackle. I like us to expose him, and I like the other teams as well, with pass rushers being pretty good in the NFC East. And Sam Cosmi may be their best lineman, but that's not saying much. He's maybe above average at best. So this line is not going to protect, Sam Howell. What they are known for is his defense, and it starts with that line, Montez Sweat, first-round pick, Duron Picks, first-round pick, Jonathan Allen, first-round pick, with those 2 interior guys coming from Alabama, and Deron Payne getting that, 4-year, 22 or 23 million year average extension. And Chase Young, the guy who might be the worst at, on the line at this point, because he's coming off injury, ACL injury he just hasn't recovered from. But, his rookie year, he had 7.5 sacks, and he showed talent. But they can get after the quarterback with these guys, just their front 4. But behind that, it's a little suspect. Cody Barton, Jamin Davis, they're just average guys. They have a third linebacker, but, he's not even worth mentioning. So, they're average there. So they can, they can play the run, a little bit, playing behind that line. They allow them to just fill gaps, but they're not outstanding in their abilities. And Kendall Fuller, he's a decently talented guy, a good borderline number 2. Emmanuel Forbes being drafted, for his potential, is 6'1", but a $166, very light. Had 6 picks last year. Not 6. He had 6 picks taken back for a touchdown, in SEC record, 14 overall in his career, I believe, and maybe 6 last year. But is he ready to to physically stand up to the guys out there on the corner, the number 1 position? I don't know if he's number 2, but even then, can he? I think he can run with Devontae Smith, but he's gonna be ready for that level of route running, and also the bigger receivers. AJ Brown, I'd love to put him on him. He's gonna out physical him. Benjamin St. Just, he's a decent corner, but he can be had. And Cameron Curl, I don't remember, but Derek Forrest, we saw him in the secondary last year at safety, and we also saw the back of his jersey chasing Eagles players. So it goes to tell you everything. It's just not a roster that scares you on defense outside of that line, which can make things happen. It can make the guys behind them look better than they do, but that's they're gonna be out there a lot on the field, and they're gonna eventually get exposed, because if you have your defense out there, for the majority of the time, they're gonna get tired, they're gonna get exasperated. Especially they're gonna have to rotate, those defensive linemen out, and when those first teamers come out, game on, And can the offense do enough to carry its weight? I don't think it does, and I think that's why I had them down for like 6 or so wins, because it's just, they don't have enough talent on the offense to keep up with that decent defense. Pretty decent. And the defense is going to wear out, and then it's going to lead to injuries, and, the cycle is going to be vicious. So, anyways, let's look at some notes that they have on the Washington Commanders. So, both quarterbacks could end up playing? Yeah, I believe so, because, might have to substitute Sam Howell for Jacoby Brissett, and then, might throw him back out there again, but, it'll just destroy the young man's confidence. And, hey, I hate to see it happen to the player, but when it's an NFC East division opponent, I love it. Antonio Gibson, he's going to get a lot of playing time behind Brian Robinson. It's just that, the NFL these days, go with platoons of running backs, and have at least 3 guys that are, pretty talented that can give you something. first down, second down guy, third down, but he can also maybe replace your back on first downs, give him spelling, and then a pass catching specialist or a run, a third down chain mover or something like that, or mix of both, and guys who play special teams. Curtis Samuel was excellent last season, quietly, and John Dawson looks like a keeper, but I mean, I don't think those guys are extraordinary at receiver. Terry McLaurin, if he had a true running mate, man, if he had a true number two beside him, he'd be even more of a threat. But they're depending on him, and once you know that he's just the guy in the offense, you can just lock him down. And we'll see if Howell locks onto him too much. Andrew Norwood, they didn't even count him in. Week one. That tells you a lot. He's a decent guy, but I mean, you're saying the good line is good enough to get by. That's not gonna do it. In the NFC East where you need to buy time for your quarterback. And like I said, how's he gonna be Sam Howell? How's he gonna be going through his progressions, reading the defense, making snap judgments? When they're trying to deceive and fool him, disguising coverages and looks, he might just fall for some of the bait. Not just fall. He's gonna fall for some of the bait. How's he gonna bounce back though? We shall see. They drafted defensive backs. We didn't mention Jartavius Martin. Sorry, I forgot about him. But he could be. I think he can slot into the corner, the nickel corner nicely, and then we'll see if they put him at safety, because I think he'd be actually an upgrade to the other guys, and they'd actually be more. It'd be a better look for them to go with him, more as I'd say it's a hybrid, but also with more snaps at safety than the starters that they have there. They can be vastly improved upon. Yeah, Chase Young, like I say, he's the fourth best guy, and they didn't give him a fifth-year option. It just shows that they're not sold on him. And if he does have a bounce back season, they will look foolish, but they can also extend him as well. So I mean, there's that. Deron Payne, that extension, heavy, but Montez Sweat might be the first one outside on the edge to get extended, because, like I said, Chase Young, they're not too sure what they have in him. Trying to see, because he had the injury in 2021. And then he was still struggling to bounce back in 2022 with them, struggling to activate, struggling to decide when to activate him. Finally did near the end of the season, but, it's kind of a throwaway at that point, and he didn't even show that much. So, Jameer Davis hasn't panned out. I mean, Florida guy, I mean, they can't blame, not playing. But, that's a weakness right there, the linebacker. They don't really have that in the middle, unless you have, an outstanding front and back end. The guys in the middle got to be the glue, and who's going to be, the guy with the green dot, being able to coalesce the whole thing. It ain't him, but, we'll see how they fare. But, just having a guy just there is going to lead to, them overall, they have a good roster. But like I said, they're the fourth best team in this division. They won 78 games last year. They might be still stuck at the same number, even if they are marketably improved. And also, this is a quarterback-driven league. They don't have the guy right there, I don't believe, with Sam Howell. And, he might jeopardize the season. And by the time it's too late, they might pull him, destroy his confidence moving forward, and then, go with Brissett, who's going to be playing in dead time, basically, the lame duck status. Because I don't know if he's only on a one-year deal, but he's been paid handsomely. Why not try to go out there and win it and try to get to, they're going to be on the new ownership. They don't owe you any favors. They're just going to look at you like, okay, you didn't get the job done. Let's bring in our guys, the guys that, we gave the stamp of approval. You guys are just some guys to them. They don't owe you anything. So, anyways, that's it for the evaluation of the Washington Commanders roster. I have deemed it to be inadequate. Anyways, let's look at some stuff around the league. Cowboys still searching for a kicker. They say they're looking for anybody. Tells you how desperate it is out there in Dallas. Big D is determined, but it might end up being dastardly and destructive. Can help me with the alliteration. Bryce Young enters OTAs as number 2 behind Andy Dalton. No surprise there. I mean, he looked diminutive in that huddle, with the guys, and just, I don't know, I didn't like seeing that, but they hired him for the job, so give him the tools, give him the preparation to go out there and get the job done. You're heavily invested in him, so double down. Double down or nothing. It's too late to have buyer's remorse. But Matt Ryan, he joins CBS He says it's not retirement, but we all know this is a sign of him winding down in the career. He's had an illustrious career, a former MVP, started in the Super Bowl. They should have won that game, but they epically flubbed it. It'll go down as one of the worst letdowns for the city of Atlanta and in NFL history. So glad that wasn't my squad. We lost by 3, but I would have been destroyed if we lost like that. Golly, man. In the days, a loss is a loss, but that haunts Atlanta still to this day. The A is like and Dominican Sue says he's not likely to sign with the squad prior to camp. Which is smart. He might sign like he did in the middle of last season. Be smart for him to save his body. And the camp and the training camp is a mental grind on dudes. And why go through that when you don't have to? And he's a beast still physically in his career, even up to this point. Let's see. We'll get into one more thing. Looking at the Eagles. Carson Wentz, man. He's received interest from teams, but he's going to have to take a back seat, as in take a backup job, clipboard holding. But he just said, he's at a crossroads. It just is where he is at this point in his career. And it's just sad to see his Philly 500 calls him Woogie go down this road. But from almost on the eve of getting a MVP award to, pretty much about to be out of the league if he doesn't, swallow his pride and take a backup job, which he said he will. He's open to. So, wishing the best to him, but he just self-destructed. Wasn't a team player, one things his way, had a huge ego. So being a Christian man, just like juxtaposed to what he should have been. But we all have our pitfalls. I've made plenty of mistakes and been out of the spotlight. He made this in front of America, but it is what it is. Anyways, we're gonna end the video there. But you're not even watching though. It's all good. I love making these videos anyway. So as always, it's fly, Eagles fly, and let's motherfucking go. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron, Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.